Well, hello, Slapper Day, number 370. Hello. It's still Paddy's Day. It's always Paddy's Day, right? Paddy's Day 2026. What can I tell you? Phenomenal. Mucho gusto. Très bien. We have had just a tremendous run, some new places, some wonderful new things happening. We've just left the Kima Boardwalk, possibly one of our most fun shows ever down there. And we have the big announcement today, but we're also getting ready to go to San Antonio. What San Antonio? What San Antonio? Yeah, you heard me. So, boys and girls, mademoiselle, lovers, gentle lovers, muchachos and muchichis, this is SlapperCast, the world's #1 rock and roll podcast in the multiverse. Yes, it is. So, wanted to say thank you all who have come to so many shows, driven such distances to come and see us. Thrilled to have you. This is a bittersweet episode in that we'll be, you'll see here in a second, but also a very fun episode that we did for the wonderful, the talented, the always glorious Auntie Lori and the WHIP Radio, Backland Radio. We have our top picks for our Irish rock and roll, our Irish folk, our Irish music playlist, if you will. So enjoy that episode. But before it, here's a message from our Turbo. And we shall talk to you all very, very soon. Enjoy this SlapperCast. And please come and see us on the road. We're having a great time. And we'd love to have you there. We'd love to share it with you. You are all tremendous. Thank you. And we'll talk soon. Cheers. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, lovers, gentle lovers. This is our announcement. We wanted to make sure everything was as they say, all the ducks were dead and all the cats were in one basket. We wanted to get all the information, and now we have it. And our announcement is as follows. This fine young gentleman is having a surgery. He's having a knee replaced.
I'm having my knee replaced. Sorry.
I know.
Make me get emotional right
Yeah,
now.
but
I'm not gonna. I'm gonna hold it together.
That's all right. No, that's all right. So
unfortunately, my knee just gave out. And,
Arizona tour.
Yep. On the Arizona tour, I knew something was wrong and had it looked at and had x-rays, and there's only one option. Unfortunately, I got to have some ligament repairing, and they'll artificially do that when they do the full knee replacement. But I just got my MRIs yesterday, and hopefully won't be down too long.
So it's sad news. It's heavy news. Blaggards are going to continue in a few different capacities going forward. We're not losing him. I wanted to say that just as a little, but it's devastating news because he's been in a lot of pain for a long time and hasn't mentioned it. I break a nail and we shut down for a month. So as you can tell by the enormity, the weight of this announcement, it's not something that we wanted to just roll out that we didn't know. Still don't know how long it's going to be.
Yeah.
It could be as long as a year. It could be as short as,
a few months.
Yeah. So, but whatever it is, we're bracing for the worst. We're very optimistic, and we're gonna get this right. I just wanted to get the light above his head. Like, I have an idea. I'll come back. So, we're gonna do everything we can to help him, which doesn't mean that you go have surgery and we just call you when you're better. We'll be taking you with us throughout the journey, the recovery. We've known this now for a couple of weeks, and you can't take this risk of having this injury for life. And he's got a great team. He's got a great bunch of people.
I got a good doctor, and so I scouted out a good doctor, and the initial shock is still kind of hitting it. The MRIs yesterday, I was saying I was a little nervy because it's now real. I was like, oh, it'll be fine. Obviously day one when I had the x-rays and, my leg has fallen back, but they said, look, it is repairable. It's going to be a recovery, but they said, we're going to lay it out and we know that you're going to go through it. And so I'm going to give it hell.
Yeah.
Go through it.
And if this is your first time meeting Turbo, if you're online and you're seeing it for the first time, well, obviously you don't have OnlyFans, but this is a man that does not sit for long. He does not let illness. He doesn't let bad news in his way. He walks through it. This will be a success. This is just me talking, but this will be a success. It will be as fast as humanly possible. And we just want to say, as Chad behind the camera, myself, all of us, we just want to wish you the very best. And like I say, it won't be fucking SlapperCast in 3 weeks. So, hey, let's check out. We're going to be with you. So whatever you need. And I know our family are all our family and friends are going to be rooting for him as well. So that's it. We're devastated to lose him, but for even for a week. But this is going to be for a long period of time, and Blaggards are going to continue on only because we've got a lot of dates that we do not like to cancel. So we got a lot of work to do, and when you come back, you're going to have the live record sitting waiting for your approval. So anyway, we got to get to work.
All right.
Best of luck, Turbo. All right. So this is the Paddy's Day.
Yeah. What do we call it? There's some name you came up with for it. Let's see if we can find it real quick.
You find it real quick, and I will welcome everybody here to St. Paddy's Day 2026 via the WHIP Radio, Backland Radio, your friends, our friends, all our friends on this, the most important holiday of the absolute year. This is Paddy's Day 2026. We are Blaggards, your host. Over there, we got Chad the Impaler. We got myself. And we are delighted to be back here again. We want to thank the lovely Auntie Lori for having us in again. I would like to start this year. However, this is I've just been on the phone with a young man named Ray Fean. His brother, the late great Johnny Fean, guitar player from Horslips. Who is that? Well, let's just say without Horslips, we don't have Thin Lizzy. We don't have Irish rock and roll as we know Irish rock and roll. And I am just delighted to announce here that we Blaggards are playing at the Johnny Fean Rhythm and Blues Festival this year, this October in Ireland. Let me tell you a little bit more wonderful news. Let me give you a little more wonderful news. We are going to Ireland. This is going to be our 12th annual tour of Ireland. We call it our 12th annual worldwide tour of Ireland. And we are going to be playing at the Shannon Springs Hotel at the Johnny Fean Rhythm and Blues Festival. We had the absolute honor of meeting Mr. Jim Lockhart last year on our 11th annual worldwide tour of Ireland in the Killiney Castle Hotel. And he joined us for breakfast, and we went on a hike up Killiney Hill. We just had a ball with him. Our friend Stephen Ferris, also from Ireland, he put us in touch with these guys. So we got to meet. That was our first time meeting Jim Lockhart, an absolute delight, gentleman, incredible music. They call him the maestro, the band, but of Horslips. All this to say, we have been invited to, and we're just beyond thrilled, beyond honored to be asked to play the Johnny Fean Rhythm and Blues Festival in the Shannon Springs Hotel, October 24th. It's a Saturday night, and I'm shaken. I'm over the moon, There's not words to describe how excited I am, and how thrilled Blaggards are to be honored, to be asked to play. And as it sits of today, now this is not. We're recording this a little bit before Paddy's. As it sits right now, we're the first band on there. So just delight, thrill, honor. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are cordially inviting you to our 12th annual worldwide tour of Ireland this October. That's a lot. That's a lot of wind. That's a lot of words. That's a lot of sound. And I apologize for taking so long. Richard Smalley, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. And by the way, I have unearthed the official name of this show that we've been doing for the WHIP for several years. This is a name that you coined, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. St. Whippy's Mandatory Paddy Hooley Hour. And I don't know which installment of that this is. It's at least the third, right?
I think third or fourth.
Yeah.
Third or fourth, yeah. So Auntie Lori did not learn her lesson. We're back. We are back. Yeah, we're just, and again, such a thrill. Now, also remember, October rolls around and you're going to be looking around. You're going to be saying, what comes after October? Oh, yeah, the third greatest holiday of the year. That's Christmas. And we are hoping to be up in your neck of the woods, WHIP listeners, Backland Radio listeners from all over the world. We're going to be up in, hopefully, we're looking into doing a Christmas show this year. We tried to do one last year, but we were already, our schedule was so full on the December, we weren't able to make it. But let's see about that this year. Back to Paddy's Day, the number one, the most important holiday of the year. With Christmas being third, Chad, do you know what the second most important holiday is?
No, I was about to ask.
Yeah, it's St. Hangover's Day. It's the day after Paddy's Day.
Okay.
I've got nothing. Chad, why don't you start us off? What we're doing here is we're showing you some of our favorites, some of the inspiration that makes Blaggards do what we do and where it started and how we got our, So, Chad, if you wouldn't mind, it'll throw you on the spot here, but give us a little Blackguard history and how you came to be playing in this godforsaken outfit for over 22 years now.
Well, it was really kind of happenstance. So there was this fellow named Scott Washburn that I was in a band briefly in the early 2000s playing my original material. He's a drummer, very talented drummer. And that project kind of fell apart because we had creative differences about where we wanted to take it. And so the dust was settling from that project. And then it was, I think, a year later that he called me and said, "Hey, I'm going down to this open mic at Beverly Pub. My friend Patrick Dublin is running this open mic." And I had actually almost met you. I already knew who you were because I'd gone with Scott to see On the Dole play 2 years before that, I think.
My first band.
Yeah. And he was on the same bill with you with the instrumental group called The Churn.
The Chum.
The Chum.
The Chum.
And so I already knew that Patrick was a talented dude, and I thought On the Dole was really cool. So I was like, cool, man. But Scott wanted me to be there because he was going to play some of his original material, and he really wanted somebody there that he knew, so he's less nervous about it. So I really want you to be there, and you should come play something too on your own. I was like, I don't know about that, but I'll be there. So I went there, met Patrick, also met Shuggy Morrison, the accordion player who was playing with Patrick at the time. Met Gene, the owner, all these people who quickly became fixtures in my weekly life shortly after that. I didn't know it yet. But Patrick and I hit it off immediately. We were talking about Elvis. We were talking about David Bowie. We were talking about Johnny Cash. And Scott was talking me up and saying, "Man, and everybody was trying to get me to go and play, to go up on stage and play." There really wasn't a stage at the Beverly. It was basically just the front of the pub where the TV was.
It's a huge stage. Spite your tongue.
We called it, by the way, Patrick's nickname for the Beverly Pub was the Ashtray. It could be like one person smoking in the pub, and you go outside and there was this light out by the front door, and you could see where that light was, the smoke just billowing out when you open the door, just billowing out of the pub constantly.
It looked like the club was on fire 24 hours a day. This is back when
really
there was smoke. Yeah. And I don't know if smoking was encouraged, but it certainly seemed that way in the...
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
it wasn't that first week. The next week I came back. Patrick basically shoved the guitar in my hands and pulled me on stage. The rest was history. Basically, I was kind of hooked. And long story short, Patrick already had a band at the time. They already had a full band, bass player, drummer, Shuggy on accordion. But we were talking about getting a band together separate from that. So those wheels were kind of turning up until the very talented Tom Jenkins decided he was going to quit Patrick's band. So Patrick immediately called me and said, "You want in?" And I said, "Yeah." So that was it. And we're still here.
Yes, we are. So now we're gonna jump right into Chad. You want to take the first one here on 2026 Paddy's Day?
Okay. You were just talking about Horslips, and there's a song that you have in your list that I'm not going to mention. I'll leave that thunder to you. I'd heard it before, but I want to listen to it just to refresh my memory on it. And I was doing something else, and it started automatically playing through to more Horslips stuff. And the first thing that came up was Loneliness, which is the opening track on The Man Who Built America. And I'd never heard the song before. It's a great song, and it's a really good example of how eclectic and versatile they were, because it doesn't sound like any of the other songs of theirs that I've heard. It's like it kind of bridges 70s rock with 80s, what was about to come 80s rock, because this was 1979, I think. So there's a lot of really heavy Hammond organ in it, which is really cool. But the chorus there's a really catchy chorus that sounds more like a early 80s thing, but not in a dated way, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? There's no dated instruments on it. It's all very earthy stuff, the stuff that we know them for. But I was immediately hooked. So I was like, this is going on the list. So that was the first thing I added to my list. As soon as I heard that, I was like, yep.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, lovers, gentle lovers, I would strongly urge you to go and check out Horslips, 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 and just give it a listen. This is Irish rock from the 70s. I mean, you couldn't say that they were jumping in to start Irish rock. However, they had so much influence from their traditional, from what they'd heard, through Irish music and their prog. They love that prog stuff, and they love that rock stuff and the folk stuff. I mean, just this beautiful melting of all these genres that just brought it. So the first song is also a Horslips. We're Horslips heavy anyway, but we're extremely excited about the Johnny Fean Rhythm and Blues Festival in Shannon Springs Hotel on October 24th this year in Ireland. So the first song is an instrumental, and the live version is just out of this world. It's called King of the Fairies. It was always on my radar, but our good friend Jeff Duncan had texted me one time and go, "Hey, can we cover this song?" Like, absolutely. I mean, it's basically, it's like calling the big guy and say, "Hey, can I put butter on that?" And they go, "Yeah, absolutely. We can grease it up. Let's go." We have a few medleys, a few instrumentals in our set as Blaggards, and when I heard King of the Fairies, seriously, when I listened to it and dove into it, I thought to myself, I was like, man, this is how I put songs together. This is how I put tunes together. We have an original song that I wrote years ago called Kerfuffle, and we wrote it for a movie, and it was basically a bunch of riffs that I had written that were kind of that Thin Lizzy, Horslips, Gary Moore, Rory Gallagher style things. In my head, that's what it was. King of the Fairies, it's like looking over your neighbor's fence and seeing that they have the same design, in their garden. You know what I mean? Like the same landscape ideas and all that stuff. Oh, so King of the Fairies really, it lit me up. Just asking, somebody said, "Hey, can we cover that song?" I was like, yes, and double yes, So there's my number one. Number two, what do we got?
That was the song. That was the song I was listening to when it randomly skipped into Loneliness right after that.
Yeah.
It's a great piece. And it's like, I think there's a lot of Celtic bands out there, Celtic rock bands, Irish rock bands, whatever, who have fiddle in the band, who have these long instrumentals that they play. Whether they realize it or not, I think all of them are influenced by this song. So many of them have a lot of that I hear have elements from this. It's interesting that it's sort of like become this fundamental thing that has in the DNA of every Celtic rock band that's out there, whether they're Irish or not. I recently got to see somebody I'd heard a lot about over the past several years, an Irish songwriter, and everybody said, "Man, have you seen Pat Byrne? You got to go see Pat Byrne." I was like, "Man, I wish I had. I just haven't had a chance to do it." It was finally on New Year's. My mom had a spare ticket for Irish New Year's at the Monkey Duck, and Pat Byrne was playing. But he was great, and I see why people love him so much. He's a fantastic vocalist, and he did remind me quite a bit of the late, great Luke Kelly of the Dubliners, who in my mind, I think along with Paddy Riley and Phil Lynott himself, I mean, some of the greatest Irish vocalists. I mean, Luke Kelly has had such a distinctive singing voice. It was this beautiful lilting character in his voice, but also this kind of grit in everything that he sang, whether he was singing an upbeat tempo song or a ballad, and just cuts through you every time. And I just love his voice. And this song is one of the most iconic Irish folk songs that he is well known for singing. The Raglan Road. I mean, just the title of the song itself is iconic. I mean, there's pubs named after it, So that's what I'm starting off with here, is the version of Raglan Road he did with the Dubliners, and it's absolutely beautiful. And there you go.
Yeah, another song that he did so well was The Parting Glass. It's not on my list, but The Parting Glass is one of those songs that is just, the melody is so Irish and so haunting and so beautiful and so authentically Irish. It's just, it's to its fabric. The melody and the sentiment and the song is so just to its DNA. It's such an Irish song, but it's so beautiful. It's called The Parting Glass, and it hasn't been on my list before. But when you were mentioning Luke Kelly, that's all I can hear is him singing that song. Just a song not to be overlooked. However, it is not my number two. My number dos is a guitar player that can never, ever be overlooked. A guitar player that's pushed the envelope, not in just in prog, in rock, in even some heavy rock, metal, even blues, is Gary Moore. Now, is he the greatest guitar player that ever lived? No, but you could argue that he is. I mean, look up the stuff he did with Coliseum 2, or look up, his work with Thin Lizzy, or look up his solo blues stuff, or look up his, he just doesn't, he's just the most passionate guitar player I've ever heard. Easily the most passionate guitar player I've ever heard. I don't know if he or Rory Gallagher, or I don't know which is better. Rory Gallagher would take it. Nobody asked me this, but I'm telling you anyway. You're welcome. This is what we call bonus, Paddy. I would give Rory Gallagher the edge only because Rory Gallagher is a better songwriter, is a better lyricist. I mean, not that Gary Moore couldn't do it, but again, Rory Gallagher, 3-piece. Anyway, sorry. My number 2 song, Tangent Central. My number 2 song is, and it may be a repeat from years gone by, but it's Gary Moore, Over the Hills and Far Away. And it was a song that hit me in the 80s, and it's still to this day, just gives you goosebumps. Lyrics not so great, but the vocals on it and the guitar playing and the melodies, and he actually plays with the Chieftains. The Chieftains play on this record with him, and there's some great footage from the Late Late Show in Ireland, hosted by Gabe Orton. Some great footage on there where he plays with the Chieftains, and they do a great version of it on there. But again, Gary Moore, Over the Hills and Far Away. That's my second song. Impaler, take it away.
This one, I'm pretty sure this is another repeat too. Transmetropolitan by the Pogues. It's one of their earliest songs, and it's really upbeat and fun. There's not too much I'm going to say about it, except that it's great. Well, there's one, which is one funny side note. And the chorus, Transmetropolitan, yip-I-I. We always used to joke that it sounds like they're singing FYI for no reason. But if you listen to it with that in your head, it's kind of impossible not to hear it that way. But it's a great song. And what's notable about it is towards the end, James Fearnley, the accordion player, starts playing the melody to The Rare Old Times, which is a song that Pete St. John wrote, also the same fellow who wrote Fields of Athenry. And the Dubliners also cover that song, and that's a little bit of a foreshadowing of what's about to happen later in the song list. But it's a fantastic song. Underrated Pogues number.
Yes. The word that I would describe, if I had to describe it in one word, is barn burner. You can open or close a show with that song. You can play that song anywhere in the set. That is a brilliant, brilliant track. And I am going to say that I am going to be Pogueless. This is the first year I've gone Pogueless on a list, but there's a reason for it. So my number 3, as and you can see a pattern forming here, is, again, this is definitely a repeat. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, this song can never be overlooked. This song can never be forgotten. This song is called Black Rose by Thin Lizzy, with the aforementioned Gary Moore, who helped Phil Lynott craft this beast. And the only guitar player in Thin Lizzy, other than Gary Moore, that could play that song in its entirety was a young fella named John Sykes. And now we've lost Rory Gallagher, we've lost Gary Moore, we've lost John Sykes. Anyway. So Black Rose, if you have seen Blaggards before, we are Blaggards. I know some people think that we're the Nolan sisters. That's not correct. We are Blaggards, and we have been playing for over 22 years now, 23. And if you listen to Black Rose by Thin Lizzy, you'll say, that's the blueprint for Blaggards. That's where the ADHD, mindset hits. So Black Rose, Thin Lizzy, check it out. Oh, brilliant, brilliant piece.
Yeah. Yeah. Yet another song that we've always intended to cover. We haven't gotten around to yet. It is a beast, though. That is something we're going to have to really knuckle down in the woodshed to work through, because there's a lot of challenging parts in there.
Yeah. And if you're going to mention names like Gary Moore and John Sykes, you better have a guitar player. Don't come out there with it's just a beast. So lovers of guitar, lovers of rock music, you are going to adore this track, and please enjoy. Chad, take it away. What do you got?
This is, surprise, surprise, The Rare Old Times by the Dubliners. Luke Kelly. So again, there's a lot of Luke in my list. Sometimes I don't think I've had enough Luke in the list for these shows. He is, I think, Luke Kelly, again, I think is among American listeners, probably kind of underrated. A lot of people don't like Rory Gallagher. I think a lot of people, Americans, just don't know who he is. Even if they've heard of the Dubliners, they may not know him. And it's like, God, you got to listen to this guy, man. He's just absolutely brilliant. But The Rare Old Times is a beautiful song that Pete St. John wrote. And this was on a record called Together Again that the Dubliners did in the late 70s, where they had been apart for a while because Ronnie Drew had left the band for a couple of years, I think. So for a while, it was Luke Cully was the only lead singer in the band. So then Ronnie came back and they made this record together. And Pete St. John himself produced it. So this was one of the things they did on there, and it's a great, beautiful song, very iconic. Probably a lot of people think that this is a traditional song. It has become traditional, but it was written in recent decades by the late great Pete St. John, whom we lost just a few years ago. I think he lived to be 90 years old or something like that.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to go quattro, as they say in just south of here. I'm going to go with an artist again. We lost a couple of years back, and a devastating loss in that. Just another brilliant songwriter, brilliant, just beautiful baritone, big voice. Mr. Ron Kavana, if you look at it at a glance, Kavana, if you ask. But he is. This is a song that we covered for a while, and it's again. This is the last of the medley style songs that I'm picking on this list. I'm putting this on there again because I love the formation of these tunes and how they build a song and how it turns into it. And it's just a song that just made the goosebumps stand up, the hair stand up in your arms, and breathtakingly beautiful. And again, solely Irish, just a whole hearted Irish folk song with some great jigs and reels at the end of it. So it's called Irish Ways by Ron Kavana. There you go. That's my numero quattro.
That one always makes me think of our late great friend Davy Bryan.
Yeah, when I played that song, nobody sang better backup on that song than Davy Bryan. Nobody.
Yeah.
We talk about him on our podcast often, and his tone, his guitar tone, his blues playing. I mean, he is. I mean, he was again Davy, just Saint Davy Bryan, one of the great friends. Just huge influences on us.
I was going to say, I did get to hear you two singing it together one time when we were in Lake Worth. After we'd played a show at the Bamboo Room, we went over to a neighboring pub for shifties, which is late night after hours drinks, by the way, which you're not supposed to have. That's why I'm not going to name the pub. So I don't want to get anybody in trouble, even though it was 15 years ago.
That pub is long gone.
It's long gone, yeah.
Yeah.
We sat in there late at night, trading songs back and forth. Another late friend of ours, Keith Ahern was also there singing and stuff. It was just a really fun night. Anyway, so Davey said you should sing Irish Ways, and you were like, no, I don't do it. So he kind of nudged you into it. So, and the two of you, with Davey playing guitar and you singing it, and Chris Buckley playing fiddle. And I wish this was back before iPhones could do video, so I couldn't get it, but I do have pictures, some really blurry photos of you, the two of you singing that song. But that was a magical night. I'm really glad I got to see that.
Yeah, we certainly had some great times down there.
Yep.
So what's next?
Is it my turn?
You're up.
Getting back to Thin Lizzy again. This is a song off of Jailbreak, and it's one that it's not. I wouldn't call it a deep cut, but it's usually when you have songs from Jailbreak, you're hearing Jailbreak or Emerald, Boys Are Back in Town, all that stuff.
Cowboy song,
yeah. So this is one that I don't often hear, and it's great. And it is a little bizarre. I mean, it's a little stranger as far as hooks are concerned. There isn't really like a chorus hook in it necessarily. Angel from the Coast, one of the greatest groovy beasts of a song that they ever did, and some really interesting chord changes and stuff. And it doesn't sound like a normal song, but it's just groovy as hell. And it is for those people who are familiar with Thin Lizzy, this is one of their more signature sounding tracks. I think it has a lot of characteristics that are distinctly Lizzy, including there's obviously like all the songs in this record, there's a dual guitar solo on it. But it's just really fantastic. So I often don't give this song enough listens, but now you get to hear it too.
Yes, great pick. Well, I'm going to go with another Irish songwriter that's influenced so many and has given so much to the wonderful encyclopedia of Irish music, Paul Brady. And I've never picked one of his songs before, but I'm putting a song called The Lakes of Pontchartrain on here. And of course, Paul Brady writing the song is a beautiful song. But there's a friend of ours from a place just outside of Galway in Ireland, and his name is Adrian Conair. And like the aforementioned Davy Bryan, Adrian is one of these guys that can sing and play guitar. He also plays tin whistle. He plays bow. I mean, if you put a musical instrument in his hand, he will destroy it in the best sense of that word. He is just beyond top. He sang The Lakes of Pontchartrain. The first time I ever heard him play it was at an Irish pub called Sláinte, which turned into Molly's, which is now turned into something else downtown Houston on Main Street. But Adrian Conair sang The Lakes of Pontchartrain at a gig of ours. I think this was on the... Anyway, he sang Lakes of Pontchartrain by Paul Brady. It was the first time I saw... If you remember back long time ago, back when cartoons were cartoons, and if there was an apple pie or something baked, and then the characters, Tom and Jerry, would then come floating in, like following the smell of this freshly baked apple pie or whatever, or chicken or whatever it was, and they just come wafting in on the breeze. That's what happened this particular night when Adrian Conair sang Lakes of Pontchartrain by Paul Brady. And people just, it was like they oozed through the walls and took shape and formed in front. And the room was just out, and there was dead silence. It was magical. And I've never heard anybody sing that song as well as Adrian Conair from Loughrea. I mean, just... So, Lakes of Pontchartrain, that's my next one. Look it up, listen to it, love it.
I did listen to that earlier today. It was one of the songs that's on your list that I hadn't heard before, so I made a point of going to listen to it. It is absolutely gorgeous, and I wish I could hear Adrian sing it as well. I hope maybe we'll get lucky when we go back to Ireland this fall. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really a solid pick, man. And I hadn't heard of Paul Brady before, so that was.
You've heard some of his music before, I guarantee it.
I'm sure I have. Yeah.
Anyway, prolific.
I had a lot of fun earlier this morning when I was putting this list together, and just kind of, I've gotten so, task oriented. I don't listen to music enough anymore. And I realized, this was kind of a revelatory experience for me, a healthy experience for me doing this list. So yeah. Okay. So this is a band that we talked about. I think we talked about them on the Christmas show we did a couple months ago for the WHIP, legendary Irish punk band, Stiff Little Fingers. And I did mention the song. We were talking about signature tracks of theirs that you should listen to if you're not familiar with them. Suspect Device, which is one of their earliest songs. And I'm putting on this list not the original version, but a live version that they did relatively recently, mainly because it's just, it's a little bit longer than the original, but also the drumming in it. It's a different drummer. The original drummer is great, but whoever the drummer is who plays on this live record is putting a lot more mustard into those breaks instead of just sus, 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 which is great. Man, I love that hook in the original version. But in this one, the drums are going black to black to black to black to black, black. And it's very extremely satisfying. It's great drumming. But anyway, it's a great song. One thing I didn't know about this one is that the lead singer, Jake, he wrote the music for that. That's credited to the band and this other guy who actually became part of their management team. He was a journalist at the time. And right when the band was brand new, this journalist named Gordon Ogilvie brought the complete lyrics to Suspect Device. He presented it to their lead singer, and he was like, "Holy crap, this is brilliant!" And so it became one of their best, one of their most legendary songs. And then later, Gordon and another dude became their management team shortly after that. So a very unusual story. But I just love that little tidbit. But the song is just infectious as hell, and it is obviously very much rooted in what was going on in Belfast, which is where the band's from. This is late 70s, right in the heat of the Troubles. So it's not too hard to figure out what they're talking about. But Suspect Device obviously refers to an explosive device. But if you listen to the lyrics, he's talking about in your head, what that situation is doing to you, and you're trying not to explode because you're pissed off at everything that's going on. So perfect subject matter for a punk band. Give this a listen. I think it's fantastic. And this is another song I would love for us to cover someday if we can get around to it.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, that band, Stiff Little Fingers, are cut out of that moment in time. When the streets were just on fire, literally, and that music reeks of that time, and it really is. It's great stuff. And again, I usually I usually draw the line between, bands like Green Day today are, borrow heavily from that Stiff Little Fingers, back from the origins of that. I love that. Great track. Well, I'm going back, Horslips again. Here we are again talking about Horslips, and this is probably their number one. Radio listeners would only know this song, Jarrig Doom. Again, this was the song that, we used to go to the dances and, go to the discos and kind of sit there and, as again, Ron Kavana would say, girls one side, boys on the other, but we would just sit there and you'd wait for this song, Jarrig Doom, or something like, Dexy's Midnight Runners, or something that and basically the whole place would just break out into a pogo, and it would just be just bouncing. Jarrig Doom was this wonderful track that was this heavy rock, Irish to the core, but with teeth. It was essentially again, like Thin Lizzy with more Irish, with more Irish culture, embedded in it. So it's actually shrieking of its Irish roots, which is Jarrig Doom. Yeah. And they've used it for massive events. They put the techno touch on it. They've they'd use it for adverts, and also it's just a brilliant. Again, I mean, Johnny Fean, that guitar line, it's just magical. It's just like when you talk about Eric Bell playing Whiskey in the Jar with Thin Lizzy. Anybody will tell you, nobody plays it like Eric Bell. He wrote that line, Irish to the core, no question where it comes from, but nobody plays it like that. Gary Moore plays it great, and it's close. It's not Eric Bell. Johnny Fean, when you hear, I've heard people sound like that. It's not Johnny. It's just glorious, absolutely glorious. So, Jarrig Doom, Horslips.
Man, I love this song so much. And that riff you're talking about, which is rooted in Irish trad, there's this kind of beautiful weaving of hammer-ons and like slide. There's all this stuff that it almost sounds like he's, I don't know. It doesn't sound like it's played on guitar. It sounds like something else. I don't know how to describe it. And it sounds just distinctly Irish.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And as the song moves, as the song grows, as the song builds, the tapestry of the song changes, and it becomes the riff nearly changes without, there is a key change at the end. What do the kids call that? A spoiler alert. But there is a key change, but there's also the riff matures or grows, whatever you want to say, throughout and it becomes nearly different, but with the same feel. And it's a magical piece. And it's one of those things, like if you're a Queen fan, and you heard Tie Your Mother Down back in the day and you hear it today, it still does the same. Same thing with Jarrig Doom. It's got so much life to it, so much character, so much brilliance to it. It is put that song on and try to sit still. That's mine. I'll throw that at you and see how you feel.
Yeah, there's a live version that I think it's on that box set that you have where they're playing it live. This isn't really a complaint, but when it does that key change at the end, it's so infectious, and it's like it just elevates it, and then it immediately fades out. And you're like, oh, the song's like, bye, I gotta go. It leaves you wanting more, like so much more. What's cool about this live version that's on your box set is that it does keep going when it gets to that point until eventually the crowd takes over. And even after the band is done, the crowd still, you're chanting the song, the riff in the audience, as if I remember correctly. It's amazing. This is another Rory song, Rory Gallagher, Moonchild. And this is a song, we found it kind of accidentally. We were on tour. I can't remember how long ago. This is a long time ago. We're on tour and we're just kind of passing the time. I had pulled up this article about like the most iconic guitar riffs that had the most influence on metal. One of them was this song, and somebody had traced this because this riff has been copied or riffed on so many times throughout the years.
Yeah, regurgitated.
Yeah, including, I think most notably, 2 Minutes to Midnight by Iron Maiden. And if you listen to this, the beginning of the song sounds very similar to Iron Maiden's version. I think there's no question. And we know that Adrian
Smith, huge Rory fan.
Adrian Smith, huge Rory fan. There's no question that he was paying homage to Rory with the beginning of that song. If you listen to the beginning of Moonchild, it's immediately recognizable. And there's a lot of other songs. There was I found this list somewhere online, but there's a lot of like a list of 4 or 5 different metal songs throughout the years. And one of them I think was Judas Priest. I can't remember which song that was, but it's been people borrowed from that song so many times. And that's just one example of I mean, Rory has always been described as a guitarist.
Brian May from Queen used to go watch Rory play and would go home and practice that. I mean, he was the biggest, and he'll tell you to this day that his tone, that Queen tone, is a Rory Gallagher. And Rory, he said that Rory was just the sweetest. Everybody said the same thing about Rory. So soft spoken, so gentle, and so honest and giving. And he said Brian May of Queen said that he said Rory would tell me what he was using, how he was getting that sound and stuff, so on and so forth. So
yeah, it's fantastic. Anyway.
Yeah, another song was by a band called Saxon. I used to listen to them back in the 80s, and they're still going, they're still playing, and they have a song that completely rips it off as well. I want to say it's This Town Rocks, but it might not be though. But it's exactly Moonchild, and I think, but again,
yeah.
Once you hear Moonchild, you're going to go, yeah. There's the author. That guy owns it.
And by the way, there's a lot of great live versions of the song that are out there. I'm specifically picking the one that's on Stage Struck.
Oh, yes.
And the original studio album is great too. This is kind of true for a lot of Rory stuff. The studio versions of his songs aren't bad, but they often lack the fire that his live tracks had. And the original Moonchild is a little bit dry in production, and it's still great to listen to, but you cannot top when he played this song live. Come on. Yeah. And that's not just him. It's the bass player and the drummer and everything. It's just unbelievable. So yeah, Stage Struck live, Moonchild, Rory Gallagher. Yes.
You can't go wrong with any Rory. I mean, there is some stuff that if you're listening to a live Rory, if you're listening to a show, a Rory Gallagher show, you're going to hear a few songs done on the dobro, just him and the slide and the harmonica and stuff like that. And he gets very, very rootsy and but he lived the blues. He lived blues guitar. His Muddy Waters and Lightning Hopkins, all these players that just lit him up, and he took that and ran with it. And so many players will tell you Rory is where they started and stuff. He's just, Rory Gallagher, just go out, get it all, feast yourself. So the next song I'm going to do is again with Ron Kavana. This is off the same record, and I love this record. I love this track. Because it is one of these, we are Blaggards and we are out of Texas. Why would I say such a thing? It's because we have the, let's just say the good fortune, wink, wink, to be right beside Louisiana. And Louisiana is famous for 2 things. 1, they don't use soap. And 2, I can't remember the second one. No, it's another place that's just rich in history, music, great cuisine. The town of New Orleans. There's something magical about it. I don't care if it's 150 degrees and sweltering and just sweating out of every pore. It's a town that you must visit. It's not to be taken lightly. There's a spirit. That town has so much soul, so much personality, so much history, so much. Anyway, but the Cajuns are there, and. So I think we should get rid of Louisiana. I think we should. No. The Cajun culture is, again, very, very, it's got that kind of Celtic, it's steeped in blues, but it's their own. It's 100% original. And Ron Kavana wrote a song called Cajun Ceili. And it's just one of these ones where he showed how Irish music was imported, planted, and grown again, and served, repackaged, and served as this magical amalgamation of these great, wonderful cultures, just melding, and putting them together and sticking them together, and it just works. The instrumentation, the rhythms, the energy, and that delivers. So it's just a great track, kind of a tongue-in-cheek number, but it's very, very, very infectious and very, very, very well done. Ron Kavana, Cajun Ceili.
Yeah, and I did listen to this one earlier too. It is fantastic. And who's the guy that I think somebody else is singing. There's a different guy singing the first part.
Yes. Damn it. I wish you wouldn't ask me that.
Because he had a band. It was a band he had together at the time.
Yeah.
Alias. A band called Alias. So this is off a record called Alias around Kavana.
Yeah.
That jumped out at me. I was like, oh, that's not him singing. And then the actual Cajun part starts and it's him. But yeah, it's a really, really catchy song, man. This was a song that another Dubliners won. A Song of the Iron Road. It's a short song. It's like less than 2 minutes long. This is another song written by Ewan McCall, the same guy who wrote Dirty Old Town, which we've been covering for ages. Really interesting, unusual chord changes in it. It's this kind of gritty working class song. And it's Luke Kelly singing it. And I'd never heard it before today. And I was like, oh, this has to go on the list. This is gorgeous. And this is, again, I think kind of a Dubliner deep cut. I don't know if I've ever heard this song. I don't think we've ever even heard anybody singing this song or, covering it. But yeah, it's a great number. And you get to hear it today for the first time as well, probably.
Well, I'm gonna move right along here to somebody that probably one of the greatest exports as far as folk singers go out of Ireland is the great, still going strong, Mr. Christy Moore. Brilliant performer, unparalleled storyteller, incredible knowledge of the history, the country's history, and also the arts. I mean, just overly steeped in Irish culture. Mr. Christy Moore. We have this song on our first record, and Christy Moore does a version of it. And again, I tried to find it today. It's on one of my CD. I couldn't find it, but it's kind of like a techno version of Rocky Road to Dublin, and it is mind-bendingly brilliant. It's the first time I heard it, I said, that sounds like he pushed a button and he just played over. It's not. It's really, really well done. And it's Rocky Road to Dublin is another one of those, as they say, barn burner songs. Our drummer Turbo, as I do the upstroke opening chords to that song, Turbo will take off from behind the drum kit and jump up on a table. Sorry about that, Beaumont. And he will, just make sure that everybody in the club is standing with their hands in the air. It's, but this version by Christy Moore, Rocky Road to Dublin, out of this world.
I listened to that as well. I was like, I don't know if I heard this version. I was like, oh, okay, I can see why he picked this version. Yeah, it came out in, I think, 1999 when he was clearly going through a bit of an experimental phase.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's got some, electronic drums and synths and stuff. And when he gets to the however everybody sings that part differently, he kind of does this drone like this, almost like an Indian kind of sound.
Aussie.
And then at the end, the song keeps going after the last verse. He's kind of improvising and ad-libbing through the end of it, and it's hypnotic. It's really, really cool. All right, this is one that I found after I sent you the list. I was like, we've been covering Fields of Athenry for ages, also off our first record, part of a medley we call Prison Love Songs. And I don't know if I've ever put a version of Fields of Athenry on our list before. So, I mean, the obvious one to pick would be the Paddy Riley's version, the original version that came out. I found a version of Fields of Athenry by a Scottish guy who is famous among Celtic supporters because he used to play at Paradise at Celtic Park for many years doing acoustic openers. And he would sing Fields of Athenry and get everybody going. And I went and found his studio version of Fields of Athenry. And his voice is absolutely gorgeous. And I think he's, apart from Paddy Riley, I don't know if I've ever heard anybody sing this song so beautifully. He's really great. Liam McGrandles. I hope I'm saying that right. It's a very true rendition, true to Paddy Riley's original, but he's putting a little bit of Luke Kelly grit, I think, into this performance. I was very excited to discover this guy today. I was like, oh, cool. This guy's the real deal. He's really, really good singer. So Fields of Athenry, y'all.
Excellent. Now, I'm going to be very, very bold. I'm going to be very, very, very bold, and I'm going to insert a band out of Houston, Texas called Blaggards, which happens to be us. He and I and Turbo and many, many more. We have 13,000 members. Most of them are dead. That's all right. I'm going to put our version of a wonderful Shane MacGowan number called Rainy Night in Soho by the Pogues. I know I said there was no Pogues. It was a Pogueless, Pogue-free, but it's kind of, this is our version of Shane MacGowan's wonderful track, Rainy Night in Soho. The reason why I'm picking our version is because we had messed around with this song years ago, played it in a couple of situations where we'd never rehearsed it. We just kind of played, muddled our way through it. And then recently we picked it back up again and said, hey, what if we do it properly? What if we really tried? So we put a key change in there. We did our usual thing. And I just cannot get enough of this song. And I don't get tired of playing it. I don't get tired of hearing it. I don't get tired of people requesting it. It is a joy to play. It's Rainy Night in Soho. It's by the Pogues, but it's our version. It's Blaggards playing a beautiful Shane MacGowan piece. There we go.
Yeah. That's the one that's on YouTube. I have the video that I put together for that. Thanks to our friend Julie Bugby, provided video of that. I kind of edited that into sort of a little music video thing. So this was I want to call it a little bit of a guilty pleasure, just because this is a band that we have taken less and less seriously throughout the years. It's a band that we actually used to cover a lot in the early days. No shame, we just love the band, but we did acknowledge that they've become a little bit too big for themselves. I think it's one of these bands that their fame just kind of dwarfs the band themselves. It's like the fame is more than what they actually are, because they're a band. They're a great band. These four dudes got together as teenagers, ages ago, and they're still the same four dudes, and they somehow became one of the biggest bands on the planet. But this was off their record Joshua Tree, which was, this was their album that broke them big. They were famous before this. The Unforgettable Fire was a big deal when I was in high school. When Joshua Tree came out, they just exploded. This is the first U2 album I ever bought when it came out in 1987, and I loved it. I was never really that interested in U2 until this came out, but it caught my eye because Daniel Lanois and Brian Eno produced it, and I knew Brian Eno from the work he'd done with David Bowie and Talking Heads. I knew Daniel Lanois because he had produced Peter Gabriel's most recent record. So, I'm not super familiar. God, that word "super" came back. I'm not terribly familiar with anything past whatever the hell that has one on it. After that, I don't really know much of anything that they've done. But this album still just means so much to me, because I can just hear, I can see myself as a 17-year-old with my headphones on, dancing around to these songs. This is one. I'm putting two songs from this record here. Well, I'll get to the second one later. This one is one that we actually used to cover back in the day. There were several songs off of Joshua Tree that Patrick and I used to do. And this is one of them that I sang, Trip Through Your Wires, which I think is a heavily underrated U2 song, actually. It's really great. And I kind of miss playing the song sometimes, but we don't really do U2 anymore. But I am not ashamed to put this on there. I think it's a great song. And despite how big and bloated this band has gotten in terms of fame, this album still, I think, is fantastic. And this is still one of my favorite songs on it, Trip Through Your Wires.
Well, I'm just going to pretend like that last 5 minutes didn't happen, and I'll move right along. Next song we're going to do, this is my final installment from this wonderful band called Horslips. Again, birthing this magnificent genre of Irish rock and gifting us with these timeless. Now, there's so many bands that I hear in this next track that it lights me up every time I hear it. The live version of this is tremendous. Maybe even look for this in a Blackguard set coming to you. The song is called Sure the Boy Was Green. Now, this song is not to be, again, this is only advice. I give it, I don't take it. But my advice is listen to this song loud and listen to this song uninterrupted. Do not listen to it on a phone if you can help it. Put it on a great station like the WHIP or any Backland Radio, any Backland radio station, but play it loud. This is another barn burner is going to be the word of the day. It is infectiously Irish, but it's massively Horslips, meaning it's power with no effort. That doesn't sound good. It's the easiest transformation of power from human, into music form. It's a song that just lights me up to every time I hear it. Studio version, live version, doesn't matter. The live version, I kind of lean a little bit more towards, only because I kind of steal from that. Let's say borrow. I kind of borrow ideas from, when I write a track or write, that song is just, it's a monster. It's a force of nature. It's a thrill. And it's just, I'm so grateful to be on the planet the same time that this song got come out. It's called Sure the Boy Was Green. It rips. Give it a listen. And
yeah.
Yeah.
This is one that we've been talking about covering. If you're really familiar with some of the stuff that we've done, this song is heavily influential on what we do from start to finish. And it's just I know that when we play it, it's just going to feel right at home because we've been playing Trouble with a capital T, and that feels right at home in our set. This song, I cannot wait to sink our teeth into this one. I mentioned this when we met
Jim Lockhart.
When we met Jim, thank you. I was talking about that we were covering some of their stuff, and I mentioned Dearg Doom, I mentioned Trouble, and when I mentioned this song, he was like, "Oh, really? You're going to give that a lash?" Because he said that's a pretty tricky one. It's not easy to learn. I was like, yeah, I know. That's why we want to do it.
Yeah, but this song as well. Again, if you've ever seen Blaggards play live, one of the staples in our set is a song called "Paddy Public Enemy No. 1" by the most amazing Shane McGowan. That was in his solo days. He put that one on again. True story, but. Paddy Public Enemy No. 1 is one of our. It's a great set opener. It gets attention and it's foot to the floor. It doesn't let up. Same as Sure the Boy Was Green, but it's got that element in there. It's got that catchy, heavy. I mean, do not mess. Don't attempt this song if you're gonna try to take it lightly. It's the song is gonna hit you. It's gonna hit you hard. Be ready.
Yeah.
So the next one I'm going to do is we've spoken about the wolf tones, and I may have mentioned this before, but I was very, very honored and thrilled I'm still thrilled and honored to say that I got to open for the wolf tones here in Houston, Texas. I got to open for them many, many years ago, and then there was a split. There was a split in the band. Two of the brothers. One of the brothers didn't get along with the other brother and the rest of the band, and he went off on his way, and he formed Derek Warfield and the young Wolf Tones. And the Wolf Tones carried on as the three of them, Noel Nagel, Tommy Byrne, and Mr. Warfield himself. But I got to open for the Wolf Tones here in Houston, Texas, and they could not have been nicer. Most down-to-earth, incredibly open, warm a human being you will not find on this planet. They are just no ego, and give you as much time as you want. I mean, I got to speak at length with them. I got them to sign an L guitar and all that. Had a great time with them. And then later years, we got to meet Derek, who had split from the band, and he went off. And we were lucky enough to meet him down the road. We met him at some festivals, and Derek actually has booked us in festivals and in Las Vegas and in New Jersey and Washington, and he's been an incredible friend to us and a great he's been a great ambassador for us, So I got to introduce them when they played here in Houston. I got to go up and introduce the lads, and I was just thrilled to do that. So I'm dropping all these names because I have to carry them around with me all the time, and it's very, very. It's very, very, very heavy up here. But I say that because the Wolf Tones are and now I'll get into trouble for saying some people would not agree with this, but it doesn't matter. You're wrong. The Wolf Tones are as influential and are as magnificent and huge and as amazing and important as the Chieftains and all those other bands. Wolf Tones have been carrying the torch. They're on their final tour. I think they've only got about a year left of it, but they've been doing their final tour, and they are. I'll get to the song eventually. Have we reached the end of 2026 yet? But I'll get there. This band has been singing. Some people would call it rebel music. We'll just call it Irish music because they sing the songs of Irish history, and they sing these songs with so much pride and so much love and so much attention to detail and attention to dates, names, freedom fighters. They give everything in their music. And this song that I'm going to name right now is called Celtic Symphony. And Blaggards have covered this song many, many times. And this song it's anthemic. It's one of those ones that if you get to play a stadium and you get to play this song, play this song. This is We Will Rock You by Queen. you know, with United by Judas Priest, or I mean, all these songs are just it's a barn burner. I know, and I'll say word of the day, but it is if you sing this song in front of the Celtic supporters, hit the first chord and let them take over. you will not have to do another lick of work for the rest of your life. Celtic Symphony by the Wolf Tones. Listen to it, enjoy it, and here we go.
I was going to say this harkens back to Fields of Athenry, because that is another big Celtic song that Celtic supporters have latched onto that song. It is part of their repertoire at every game, as far as I'm aware. And talking about Liam McGrandles, his version of it, I stumbled across this because the first thing I saw was him playing it at Celtic Park from several years ago. Just him and his acoustic guitar, and the crowd is singing with him, and it's just exhilarating to see. From it's filmed like on somebody's phone, like from the perspective of somebody in the audience, and they're doing. If you've seen us play the song, you know the shouts and stuff that we do in it, and sometimes people in the audience will do it because they know where the shouts go. That comes from Celtic supporters from all the many years that Patrick, even long before I met him, you'd be playing the Celtic supporters Christmas party every year, and that song. When I remember the first time I went, actually, I wasn't playing. I was sort of understudying Tom. This before I took over. This was one of Tom's last gigs.
Yeah.
And I got to witness y'all playing that. And I think they got you to do it twice. And they do this thing where they get in a circle and they go in and out, and this big dance. Yeah. There's sort of a tradition thing that they do. But it was really fun to watch this recording at Celtic Park, because I'd never actually seen that happen at the actual game, at the actual location where this started. And they do the same shouts, oh, baby, let the free birds fly, Sinn Féin, all that stuff. And when they get to the chorus, you can see them clapping, and they're clapping them up on tempo, to the tempo that we become accustomed to playing it. And it made me think that this one time, the only time that anybody took me to task for this, so we were playing it at Fido. We just done Prison Love songs in the set, and I got off. We were on break, and this guy comes up to me and was bitching at me because our version of Fields of Athenry is up tempo. He said, Fields of Athenry is a sad song. It's a ballad about, and I was like, yeah, I know what it's about, man. He was criticizing us for the way they were playing it. I was like, I'm taking it you've never been to a Celtic supporters party. You've never seen a Celtic game? Because that's where that comes from. And I can't remember what he said in response to that, but I was thinking later, it's like, man, have you never heard like the blues? I mean, rock and roll has been doing this for decades. So you take a sad song and you elevate it. It becomes cathartic. That's what this song has become. And it is a force of nature when you hear Celtic supporters sing it. And it's kind of similar with Celtic Symphony, where this was written specifically for them, about paradise, about it's just the lyrics are kind of weird and surreal, but it name drops Celtic Park, which they call paradise. To me, I think they maybe when they wrote Celtic Symphony, they were thinking about those chants that they do in these other songs like Fields of Athenry, because it's tailor made for them. But yeah, we played it for the first time in ages. You and me and Turbo played it at Moe's a few weeks ago. Yeah, and we had our local boys out there from the Emerald Celtic Supporters Club asked us to play that. They, as you say, they basically took it over. So I'm really looking forward to bringing that back into the set, because it has been years. We hadn't really played it since Mike left the band, which is like going on 6 years ago now. So yeah, it's great fun. Yep. All right, what you got? This is the other song from Joshua Tree. I had to put this on here. One Tree Hill, and it actually comes on directly after Trip Via Wires on Joshua Tree. This song still does it for me, and it just reminds me of being a teenager and just moved to tears almost by some of these songs. And it was this is before they really got too big for their britches, and I think this is an incredibly genuine performance from Bono. Although towards the end, he's basically screaming, and you can kind of hear his voice crack a little bit because he's really putting his heart into it. I just love it. I have a funny U2 story. Yeah. When I came to Houston, ran into some people that are from Dublin, and I didn't really think about it much at the time, but this chap that I met decided to tell me that he was the original bass player for U2. And you work in bars and you just let that stuff go, right? In one ear, out the other, right? Well, it dawned on me later that he wasn't just telling me that, he was telling everybody that. So he's walking around telling people that he's the original bass player for U2. And I don't know if and of course I didn't know this at the time, but I know this now in 2026 here on Paddy's Day.
what cracks me up is he picked the only band, I mean, one of the only bands in history that met in high school. And they never split up. They never,
Yeah.
you know, I know there was a time where Larry was back surgery or whatever, and he was,
Right.
and I think the bass player at one point drank himself out of the band, but he picked the only band in Irish history to never break up. I mean, to form in high school. And I mean, even Brian Downey and Phil Lynott, met in school, and they were in the Black Eagle, or no, Phil was in the Black Eagles, and Brian was in, but they were, they went through a bunch of different, he picked the only band that met, again, high school sweethearts, and they never rung on it, and he decided he was going to be I play bass, and I think he even had a cassette tape. He had a cassette tape with his name written in pencil on it, and you too. It was just brilliant. So anyway, we can cut that out or leave it in. I just think that's hysterical that somebody would take that stance. Anyway, on and on and on we go. I'm going to put a bow on this episode with the master himself, Mr. Rory Gallagher, playing a song called As the Crow Flies. And again, this may be a repeat from years gone by, but again, when you hear this song, there's a live version of it. And when you hear Rory's delivery of it, you can kind of hear there's a murmur in the crowd as he starts to play. And by the end of the song, it's Rory's world. And we're just lucky to be here. It is the most brilliant performance of one man and his guitar. Again, I'm stuck for words because it is so magnificent that it just floors me that one man can make this beautiful, beautiful music and make it sound like a 10-piece band. It's just magnificent, inhuman. And the ability of this man, the only sorrow that I hold in my heart is that he's not here today to see what he would be doing. I just couldn't imagine.
Yeah, I know. So I know that he plays harmonica on this one, and you typically are not too fond of harmonica. I take it you give it a pass for Rory, right?
There's very few times that I will listen to a harmonica, and Huey Lewis, Poquito, Tom Petty, Rory Gallagher. Let me just explain. I'm glad you asked that, Chad. Harmonica is unacceptable 99.9999% of the time. And I'll tell you why. It's probably my own fault, but since playing with Blaggards for over 22 years and playing in On the Dole for a few years before that, the kiss of death is when somebody shows up and they go, "Hey, can I sit in with you? I've got a harmonica." You can be guaranteed that they're going to clear the room. They're going to empty every seat in the place. 99.99999% of the time, it is going to destroy your night. And I'll tell you why. Because they don't know what key they're playing in. They don't know what key and they're going to play all over the song to where you don't know. It hasn't happened again. So now we don't use monitors on the stage. We have the in-ear monitors because it's time consuming. And it's, the monitors are time consuming. They're cumbersome. They're loud. We're able to bring everything out. It's faster, blah, 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 blah. But back in the day when there was monitors and the harmonica's playing, it just washed the whole stage out. So we were in hell every single time. "Hey, I've got a harmonica." I said, "We'll go shove it." No, we never said that. But so yes, I'm definitely not a harmonica fan, but I'll tell you this. If you see Rory Gallagher with a harmonica, and now again, he's got to play it. I don't want that guy on stage left. I don't want him playing it, Rory, because then he's not singing. If he's playing, if he's playing harmonica, he's not singing and he's accompanying in his guitar. Rory Gallagher can do no wrong. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, and he plays, at least the version I heard. It's not the live version I listened to, but he's playing the harmonica with his guitar. Like he's doing some of the same lines. It's really cool. I've never heard anybody do that before. So yeah, of course, obviously Rory, he's actually really good guitar player. He's also a really good harmonica player. So that helps. And he knows what he's doing.
The reason why he's so good is because he's playing his songs and he knows where it goes. versus the other guy. Now, I have seen him play with a harmonica player that's been okay, and he'll wait till, because you don't play over Rory, you don't play over his guitar ever. And Jerry McAvoy is the only person I want to hear playing over his guitar, and that's but the reason why he's so good is because his songs are so good, and he's not going to just put it in there. It's like the harmonica players we've played with. They did not know when to shut the hell up, and then that way they kind of just wash and muddle and fog and spew all. It just completely ruins the song. So anyway,
I was going to say that this was kind of funny that Tony Visconti, who produced David Bowie, a lot of David Bowie's work, but also notably his very first record he put out. Not the very first, sorry, it was the first record of his that actually did something later. The one that had Space Oddity on it. It was originally called Self-Titled, and then it was called Space Oddity for a while. Side note, Tony Visconti produced everything on that record except Space Oddity because he thought Space Oddity was a cheap shot. He thought it was a cheap marketing trick by David Bowie, because with the moon landing had just happened. He was like, I don't want to have anything. This is beneath you, David. And he later admitted he was wrong.
Yes, very wrong.
Yeah, he recently did a remix of that record, and I thought there's a song called "Unwashed and Somewhat Slightly Dazed" that has very prominent harmonica on it, and it's not bad harmonica, but it's very present and nonstop harmonica throughout the song. I thought it was very interesting that when his remix, he almost all but completely mixed the harmonica out of the song. It's almost completely absent. I thought that was rather interesting. Yeah.
Great minds.
So he brought up, there's a lot of guitar solos on that too. And he was like bringing the guitars back up in the absence of the harmonica in certain parts. So I thought, okay.
Well, I'm going to say a few things here to wrap up this 2026 St. Paddy's Day Whip Radio, Backland Radio extravaganza right here. I'm going to say a couple of things. We are Blaggards. We are at blaggards.com. We have a weekly podcast called SlapperCast, and it is the #1 rock and roll podcast, interplanetary, intersolar, beyond galaxies. It's #1. So how about that? And we've got a quite an extensive tour schedule that's been written as we speak. We will be visiting Ireland again for our 12th annual worldwide trip of Ireland this October. You may join us. We would love for you to join us. It is the trip of a lifetime. It is the one time that you get to sit, let us take you around the most beautiful country in the world. We sightsee during the day. We go to the pubs at night. We play for you. We'll even get Chad to carry your bags. And ladies, if you would like a late night snuggle, we have a young fella named the Impaler that will be at your... Anyway, we are, all seriousness, we are going back in October, 12th annual worldwide tour of Ireland. We're going to just announce today, we are going to be playing at the Johnny Fean Rhythm and Blues Festival at the Shannon Springs Hotel, October 24th. The date is just announced today. We are thrilled to invite you, be honored to take you along. And I want to personally thank Auntie Lori again so much for asking us to do this, letting us do this. And may I also be so bold as to, I'd like to personally dedicate this to Lonesome Larry, our dear friend. We miss him every day. And it's a thrill to be even slightly associated with the Whip Radio because of all his hard work and his friendship, and just couldn't be happier. Thank you.
Yeah. I never tire of doing these shows. I feel so honored that we get to keep coming back and doing these shows for y'all. It makes me feel like we're kind of professionals. We can at least pretend that we're professional radio personalities, several times a year.
Yeah, this is it. It's a thrill. It really is. And if they post this on the social medias, if they do, and you have suggestions of songs that you'd like to hear as well, let us know, because we're listening to. Again, this is mostly the older stuff, but again, there's some great new music coming out of Ireland, and we hope to bring you some of that as well. So blaggards.com. You're here, we're here, and we're just delighted to have you. And thank you for listening. Hope to meet you all in person very, very soon.
Yep. Thanks, y'all. See you next time.
All right, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, lovers, gentle lovers. This is our announcement. We wanted to make sure everything was as they say, all the ducks were dead and all the cats were in one basket. We wanted to get all the information, and now we have it. And our announcement is as follows. This fine young gentleman is having a surgery. He's having a knee replaced.
I'm having my knee replaced. Sorry.
I know.
Make me get emotional right
Yeah,
now.
but
But I'm not gonna. I'm gonna hold it together.
that's all right. No, that's all right. So,
Unfortunately, my knee just gave out. And,
Arizona tour.
Yep. On the Arizona tour, I knew something was wrong and had it looked at and had x-rays, and there's only one option. Unfortunately, I got to have some ligament repairing, and they'll artificially do that when they do the full knee replacement. But I just got my MRIs yesterday, and hopefully won't be down too long.
So it's sad news. It's heavy news. Blaggards are going to continue in a few different capacities going forward. We're not losing him. I wanted to say that just as a little, but it's devastating news because he's been in a lot of pain for a long time and hasn't mentioned it. I break a nail and we shut down for a month. So as you can tell by the enormity, the weight of this announcement, it's not something that we wanted to just roll out that we didn't know. Still don't know how long it's going to be.
Yeah.
It could be as long as a year. It could be as short as,
A few months.
Yeah. So, but whatever it is, we're bracing for the worst. We're very optimistic, and we're gonna get this right. I just wanted to get the light above his head. Like, I have an idea. I'll come back. So, we're gonna do everything we can to help him, which doesn't mean that you go have surgery and we just call you when you're better. We'll be taking you with us throughout the journey, the recovery. We've known this now for a couple of weeks, and you can't take this risk of having this injury for life. And he's got a great team. He's got a great bunch of people.
I got a good doctor, and so I scouted out a good doctor, and the initial shock is still kind of hitting it. The MRIs yesterday, I was saying I was a little nervy because it's now real. I was like, oh, it'll be fine. Obviously day one when I had the x-rays and my leg has fallen back, but they said, look, it is repairable. It's going to be a recovery, but they said, we're going to lay it out, and we know that you're going to go through it. And so I'm going to give it hell.
Yeah.
Go through it.
And if this is your first time meeting Turbo, if you're online and you're seeing it for the first time, well, obviously you don't have OnlyFans, but this is a man that does not sit for long. He does not let illness. He doesn't let bad news in his way. He walks through it. This will be a success. This is just me talking, but this will be a success. It will be as fast as humanly possible. And we just want to say, as Chad behind the camera, myself, all of us, we just want to wish you the very best. And like I say, it won't be fucking SlapperCast in 3 weeks going, hey, let's check out. We're going to be with you. So whatever you need. And I know our family all our family and friends are going to be rooting for him as well. So that's it. We're devastated to lose him, but for even for a week. But this is going to be for a long period of time, and Blaggards are going to continue on only because we've got a lot of dates we do not like to cancel. So we got a lot of work to do, and when you come back, you're going to have the live record sitting waiting for your approval. So anyway, we got to get to work.
All right.
Best of luck, Turbo.